Today, we're going to be using one crazy team that did really well in the Global Challenge featuring Stantler, Choice Spec Sylveon, an offensive Garganacl, and an Arboliva with Pollen Puff. Let's see how this team is going to perform. This team features some fun hard Trick Room. Stantler with a Violet, Intimidate allows it to survive many attacks, allowing it to set up Trick Room with heavy sweepers alongside powerful spread moves in Choice Spec Sylveon with Terra Grass to ignore Amoonguss and a Terra Fire Torkoal. Pollen Puff Arboliva to help support the team alongside Harvest to always regain its Citrus Berry under the sun with an offensive Grimmsnarl that can't be status to help break through problematic fire types. And Fluttermane last to round out the team. If you would like to check out the details of the team or the creator, they will be linked in the description. Annihilate Fluttermane, Ting Lu, Amoonguss, Iron Bundle, Arcanine. So it's interesting to see a solo Annihilate here. I wonder if this is going to be one of the Assault Vest Annihilates that have been picking up a bit more in popularity, or this is maybe like a Bullet Seed Amoonguss that we saw prior in the global challenges to activate, of course, the Rage Fist boost for the Annihilate. So we have a few options. It's going to be pretty scary. The Ting Lu is pretty annoying, but we do have our Sylveon with Hyper Voice, which is pretty strong against it overall. So that's really good. Garganacl is pretty decent, I guess, into a few Pokemon, especially if it's like Terra Fire Annihilate, but I wouldn't mind going with potentially something like this. I do want to lead. I do have to set up probably Trick Room, so I do have to lead Stantler most likely. I could lead Sylveon. Sylveon isn't a bad lead here. I think Sylveon's not a bad lead. The thing is, if I'm not leading Stantler, I mean, it's just the Annihilate is super scary, so that's what I just have to watch out for, because Rage Fist is pretty terrifying. I think it might have to be Stantler though. Just Annihilate's a little bit weird. I could lead something like the Fluttermane, but I don't really like that because it doesn't change anything, especially with the strong Terra Fire option. I could lead Arboliva, but it's just really weak into a lot of the other tools that my opponent has, so I think I have to go with the Stantler and attempt to get Trick Room up. Because if they lead something like Arcanine anyway, it's just like my Arboliva can't protect. I'd be forced to Terra it, and I'd rather Terra the Stantler than I would the Arboliva in this matchup, because I think that just Terra on the Stantler would be more useful in this case. So let's see. It's going to be the Iron Bundle and the Fluttermane lead. Okay, that's actually really surprising, but my Sylveon's in a fantastic position. The Stantler, I don't know if it lives to double up. We'll find out together, I guess. But with the Violet, I'd imagine we do. So we could go into Torkoal as well, but I really don't want to risk Torkoal taking too much damage. This could be an Amoonguss swap for my opponent, but I just don't see a reason not to click Hyper Voice. We have a Terra Grass as well that can help us too. So yeah, let's just go for a Trick Room and a Hyper Voice. Like, just getting a lot of damage. I'm really surprised it led like Fluttermane, Iron Bundle. I guess they were really trying to pick up the knockout on the Stantler, but even then, I'm really shocked about this. Because, or maybe they were just expecting my Fluttermane to leave. We're going to see Iron Bundle Protect. Okay. Fearing the Sylveon attack, we're going to see Moonblast into the Sylveon, which does a pretty good amount of damage. We are going to be able to get a Hyper Voice off. We saw Booster Energy on the Iron Bundle, so it should just go down to a Hyper Voice. Yeah, and we're able to two-shot the Fluttermane with Hyper Voice, unless it's Terra Steel. And we are able to get the Trick Room set up. I could get a Reflect up. I could go to Torkoal. I have a few options. I think I'm just going to go for a Hyper Voice again, and I'm going to go out in a Torkoal, because there's no way you didn't bring Amoonguss, right? Maybe they didn't. Maybe they brought Ting Lu and Annihilate in the back. But I don't mind bringing out the Torkoal just to go for the Eruption anyway. I got to save Stantler for Intimidate later on, and right now it's just really hard for my opponent to actually like gets defensive position here, because this Hyper Voice is just going to do so much damage next to Eruption, especially. They do not have swaps. For I see the Fluttermane retreat, this could be the Amoonguss, or maybe it's the, oh, it is the Ting Lu. Okay, that's a fine trade-off for me though, because you're taking a lot of damage with your Ting Lu, and the Iron Bundle is also still taking like 80% or almost a KO actually. Freeze Strike going to come out into the Sylveon, but because of that defense boost, not defense boost, because of the special attack reduction from the Ting Lu, they aren't able to pick up the knockout, and now I just get to go for Hyper Voice and I get to click Eruption pretty safely. And because I set up the Sun with Torkoal, they couldn't freeze me there, and if they went for Hydro Pump, I would have lived with the Sylveon. So ends up being a perfect position. I'm gonna go for an Eruption and a Hyper Voice. It's pretty safe here. We're gonna see the Iron Bundle go for the Protect here. Let's see what the numbers are on the Tinglu. Does it have Earthquake, and does it underspeed my Sylveon? That's a pretty good question. So Eruption is going to come out. Very good damage on the Tinglu, and we are faster than the Tinglu, which is perfect because we are able to get the Hyper Voice off. I wonder if they have a Terra specifically on the Tinglu. The only Terra I think that could have helped them was Water. If it's Poison, Poison would have actually helped too, but I guess they weren't confident living the double up right there, especially if I did go for the Terra with Torkoal. Would have been scary, but I do want to say my Torkoal or say my Terra just in case later on. We're gonna see the Annihilate come in, and yeah, they didn't bring a Mungus, so they did want to save their Terra, I think, for this Annihilate situation, which okay, that's fine by me. I'm gonna go for a Hyper Voice and a Eruption again. I don't know if I want a Terra because it doesn't really change anything here. I think Terra could be useful for my Stantler later on though, but the extra damage in Annihilate doesn't do anything for me, so I'm just gonna go for the Eruption and Hyper Voice. I don't think the extra damage actually puts the Annihilate into a range where it changes like the game significantly. We're gonna see a Terra from the Annihilate, so this is either Terra Fire or Terra Water. If it's Water, greater for me, and yeah, it is gonna be Water, so it's actually easier to deal with in our. And even though my Arboliva doesn't have a Grass type move, it does still hit it with Hyper Voice, which is still pretty nice. And yeah, we are going to be able to get an Eruption off. And since they didn't go, actually no, Fluttermane was already weakened by Hyper Voice, so I'm going to be able to get a single target Specs Hyper Voice off into the Annihilate. And wow, that's just a knockout. That's absolutely insane. So their game plan unfortunately just did not work out for them because I was able to really put on the pressure. I think they were probably expecting again my lead Fluttermane, I'm assuming, because I think like that's really the only way you overpower like anything on my team, because my Trick Room mode's pretty safe. Or maybe they just didn't expect me to lead Trick Room Stantler as setting it up because of the Annihilate, but kind of was forced to in this situation, I think, because it was really hard to set up for anything otherwise, and I didn't have the best switches. So Hyper Voice and Eruption should be able to seal it. The battle's going to be forfeited, and nice. Sylveon really coming through, showing the power of Choice Specs Hyper Voice, just doing a really good amount of damage right there. Corviknight, Grimmsnarl, Garchomp, Rotom-Wash, Volcarona, Amoonguss. Okay, I think this matchup is a little bit tricky. I don't exactly have the best Sun Sweeper. I don't have a Grass move on my Arboliva either, so this ends up being kind of scary. I do need Torkoal though, because the Corviknight is just way too problematic without it. Hyper Voice does pretty well here. I do got to watch out for the Amoonguss. The only thing is I can't really stop Spore into my Trick Room setter, which is pretty concerning. They also have screens, which means they could stall out Trick a lot easier against me. I do want to bring out the Stantler though. I think Stantler's pretty good. I don't think the Garganacl puts in work in this game. It is nice for Volcarona, and Volcarona actually is a pretty big concern here. So I might actually need it. As much as I don't like it, yeah, I might have to just for that Volcarona, because Volcarona walls my team otherwise. I think I'm going to try out Sylveon plus the Stantler. I think overall does a pretty good amount of damage. Torkoal in the back to help against the Amoonguss. Garganacl as a Volcarona check, as well as the Amoonguss like stopper right here. There are a few things I am a bit concerned about, mainly just because Quiver Volcarona is pretty hard to deal with. Struggle Bug could also be pretty annoying for me to deal with, especially with Grimmsnarl and screens. So I got to figure out a way to sweep in Trick Room, and there's a few ways. If I get rid of the Amoonguss, Sylveon does really well, and if I get rid of maybe like if I weaken the Torkoal, or if I weaken the Rotom-Wash and the Garchomp, then Torkoal can. We're gonna see the Rotom-Wash and the Corviknight, so really this is pretty passive unless the Corviknight has the taunt. I'm just gonna go for a Trick Room immediately, and I'm just gonna go for a Hyper Voice. I don't know if Iron Head knocks me out combined with a Hydro Pump. I think it has to be Hydro Pump, but I do just want to go straight for the Hyper Voice and get as much damage as I possibly can into that Rotom. No screens is interesting. We're gonna see Trick actually from the Rotom, so this is Choice Scarf or Choice Specs. It'd be funny if it's Choice Specs. Wait, we're both Choice Specs. Okay. That's a moment right there, as I am going to go for the Hyper Voice right there. Maybe they thought I was like a Calm Mind variant. That does a lot of damage to Corviknight, actually. That Hyper Voice actually did a really good amount. Okay. And I'm able to get the Trick Room set up. a pretty solid turn. I think right here, I'd want to go out into my Torkoal and just click the Hyper Voice immediately and just get as much damage. The reason I'm going hard into Torkoal is because the Corviknight can't really do too much damage to me. I want to put on pressure against the Amoonguss because if Amoonguss comes in, that's probably like their best defensive tool, help stall out some Trick Room turns. So by getting the Torkoal in now, I can go for the Eruption and threaten the Torkoal afterwards. So no switch outs actually. So they're letting the Rotom go down. The Corviknight's just taking so much damage. So much. Okay, and we're gonna see a Brave Bird once again into the Sylveon this time. They realize that Sylveon's threat right there, but they are super weakened right now. I think they have to Terra their Amoonguss, and even if they Terra the Amoonguss, it's looking not great. Brings out the Garchomp, and I guess they have Terra Fire. I guess that's what they're going for. It has to be, right? Like, I don't see another way. I do want Torkoal as a win con, so I'm going to go back into my Stantler because I'm actually not sure if Hyper Voice into the Terra Fire Eruption KOs the Garchomp. So I don't think I want to risk that if I don't have to. I'm just going to click Hyper Voice and swap into Stantler, get that Intimidate off into the Garchomp, and maybe prepare for a Helping Hand Eruption endgame sweep. Because the Corviknight usually doesn't run Protect anyway. So, Clear Amulet? Not Clear Amulet. Garchomp, which is not too surprising. We are going to see that Terra is going to be initiated from the Garchomp. I'd imagine it's Fire because that's the only way I see bringing the Garchomp. You're taking too much damage from Hyper Voice otherwise. It is going to be, yep, that Terra Fire Garchomp. Okay, so my opponent did have a plan here. No Amoonguss, interesting. I wonder if they even brought it, but like, I just don't see not bringing Amoonguss in this matchup. Hyper Voice is going to come out, knock out the Corviknight. Yeah, I don't think Terra Fire Eruption would have KO'd the Garchomp. I think it would have just barely missed it, and then Earthquake would have done a ton of damage to me, and if they crit me, it would have been really awful. So here comes an Earthquake. I'm actually able to survive Life Orb Garchomp, not too surprising, and yeah, that's a pretty good turn for me. Volcarona is the last one. Okay, no Amoonguss, but that Volcarona is still a little bit concerning. You gotta watch out for it, but overall, like, the Garganacl can definitely win this end game pretty solidly. I'm gonna go for a Hypnosis actually into the Volcarona, and I'm just gonna go for the Hyper Voice because Reflect doesn't help me out in this situation, doesn't really change anything in terms of Trick Room. It could double protect and stall out Trick Room, but that's all right. I'm just gonna go for the Hypnosis into Volcarona, and I'm just gonna go for that Hyper Voice and get as much damage as I possibly can. Volcarona protects. Wouldn't be surprised to see the Garchomp protect as well. So we still have a game here. That Volcarona can definitely reverse sweep me if I'm not too careful. Okay. As we go for the Hyper Voice, I could have swapped there potentially, but there was really, I don't think, a reason why I risk taking damage on Garganacl because I need Garganacl as healthy as possible to deal with the Volcarona. I do go for the Hypnosis. I just wonder what this Volcarona's full moveset is. I'm going to go for Hypnosis into Volcarona, and I'm going to go for Hyper Voice again. Let's see. Hopefully we'll just able to get a good amount of damage. I could go for the Helping Hand, but I really don't need the damage in the Volcarona. I just need it to like be stalled out. Unfortunately, we do miss the Volcarona, which is not great. But they did go for the Heat Wave and not Quiver Dance instead. That actually helps me out a lot here. Okay. So that does help me quite considerably. And the Garchomp, as long as it's not Source Sense Garchomp, we should be okay. If Source Sense Garchomp, Dragon Claw, okay. So this is where it can get concerning. They do have the leftovers on Volcarona. We know that the Volcarona can't Terra because the Garchomp Terra'd. We go out into our Torkoal and we go out into our Garganacl, and basically this should be Protect Earthquake coming out here. I'm gonna Terra my Garganacl because Terra the Garganacl makes the most sense to me, and go for a Rock Slide. I just gotta hit it. I just gotta hit it this time. So we will go for the Protect with our Torkoal. We are gonna go for the Terra Water. We are gonna go for the Rock Slide because the main Pokemon I think to beat is gonna be the Volcarona in this position. I'm a little bit worried about how much Giga Drain does, especially since this Garganacl isn't like a fully bulky one. However, I feel with that Intimidate from Stantler earlier, we're able to get a lot of pressure. We're able to like survive, I think, the Garchomp's attack plus a Giga Drain because the Volcarona's not boosted. And really, we just got to hit the Rock Slides here. And if we just hit the Garchomp, I feel very good about like Torkoal being able to clean up the Volcarona potentially. So let's see. Protect. No Protects actually from the Volcarona or the Garchomp. So Dragon Claw coming out into the Torkoal, which I'm surprised about. Maybe they think this is a Salt Cure set. They go for a Bug Bust. Okay, so maybe they expect to tear grass there. Not a double up, but ooh, Did do a good amount of damage, but I think we would have lived any combination of Dragon Claw plus a Bug Buzz, as long as, again, no critical hits happened. I think we would also lived a Giga Drain pretty easily if the Bug Buzz, it's about the same base power. I think it's just a little bit weaker, and I think we would have been able to survive it comfortably. But luckily, Garganacl did lend a Rock Slides that game, and we're able to secure it. So offensive Garganacl, I mean, it's just like pretty solid right now. Not much rock resistances in the format, especially with the Terras. There's like Iron Hands and maybe a few ground types, but otherwise, like a lot of Pokemon that are really weak to it, like Shaman Power Dragonite combos, a lot of fire types. So just having a lot of rock coverage is actually like really good right now. Screamtail, Iron Hands, Brute Bonnet, the Scizor, Farigiraf, and Torkoal. Have we used this team? I don't think so, but this team looks super familiar to me. Maybe some elements we've used before. Definitely Trick Room, probably. Screamtail, most likely going to be just the Trick Room setter, as well as the Farigiraf. Definitely pretty terrifying because it's a Trick Room mirror. They have some pretty good tools. Iron Hands is pretty concerning. We do have a Sylveon, though, which is really strong here. I do like Stantler for the Intimidate. I think Stantler for the Intimidate is really good. I like the Sylveon just putting on the offensive pressure immediately because they don't exactly have the best switches, just like a Specs Hyper Voice. And then in the back, I like Torkoal a lot, and I want to say it's the Arboliva or the Garganacl. I'd say Arboliva just because they don't exactly have the best rock immunities, but Bullet Seed from the Brute Bonnet, the Scizor with Bullet Punch Close Combat threatening the Garganacl. The Torkoal is probably like the only Pokemon, but the thing is, like, I don't know, like Iron Hands is pretty tricky to deal with for the Garganacl as well. I think Arboliva actually handles like more Pokemon than the Garganacl does, and I don't think like Garganacl gives me like a super big thing other than maybe like a Torkoal switch in. Yeah, my Pokemon are pretty bulky with how I'm playing it here because I have the Sylveon with high special defense and my own Torkoal, I suppose, and Arboliva can threaten the Torkoal with Earth Power, which threatens more than a rock move probably. And we're going to see the Screamtail and Brute Bonnet, so ends up working out pretty well. I'm able to get Intimidate off into both Pokemon, so if this is physical on like the Screamtail, really nice. I am going to be able to go for a Helping Hand or Reflect immediately. I kind of like the idea of going for that Reflect and just going for a Hyper Voice turn one. The question is, do I want to go for a Terra? Probably not, because they have a Torkoal in the back, and then my Hyper Voice switch or my switch-ins become really scary afterwards. So I'm going to go for the Hyper Voice immediately and just go for Reflect. They might Terra the Brute Bonnet, but let's see. Could be the Screamtail, but probably the Bonnet. Yeah, we already see the Bonnet. I go for the Terra. It's going to be Terra Poison, so that's not like too surprising, but we did force a Terra out of them, and they don't have like the best Terra answer to my Torkoal now. So that's pretty strong. I am going to be able to get a Reflect up with the Stantler. Just make sure that the Bonnet can't do that much damage. We're going to get a Hyper Voice off, which is still some pretty significant damage because we do have to chip away at these mons. Spore are going to come out into the Sylveon, but I'm okay with that trade right now. And we're going to see the Screamtail go for the Trick Room. Okay. So, not too bad. I think I could probably just go for Hypnosis into the Screamtail. And I'm actually thinking of going hard. Actually, I kind of want to go out hard in Arboliva for the Stantler on the Spore, and I kind of want to go hard Torkoal as well. The main reason I want to go for this play is because I want that Eruption power as quick as possible. So I think by getting in my Torkoal immediately, I'm able to threaten so much damage with the Eruption. And let's see. We have that Reflect and we have that Intimidate. We are going to activate some Photosynthesis, but I think we should be okay. Special Defense boost is not like pretty, but let's see what the Bonnet is. It's going to be Attack. Okay. So not very happy about it being Attack booster, but still okay. They're not really doing too much damage to my Pokemon under Reflect. We are going to be able to bring out the Arboliva here. We're going to see Psychic Fangs immediately. Oh, that gets rid of my Reflect and the crit. Oh, that's really not good. And they went for Bullet Seed. Okay. So I didn't get the worst turn because Sylveon would have taken a lot of damage, but obviously like my Torkoal taking so much is not ideal. And yeah, unfortunately, we're taking so much right here. Looks like it's probably loaded dice, I'd imagine, on that Bonnet. So, okay. I do want to go for a Pollen Puff. I do have Pollen Puff, actually, so this might not be too bad. I think I'm going to Earth Power first on it, and I'm going to go for the Protect with my Torkoal. Bonnet being at -1. Unfortunately, because I want to see if they have Sucker Punch. That's the main reason I want to protect here, because if they do have Sucker Punch, I might have to go back into Stantler. So Earth Power. Okay, no Sucker Punch, which is interesting. Get a good amount to the Bonnet. How? Okay. Oh, is this close combat? Oh, this could be bad. No Crunch. Okay, if it's Crunch, that means it shouldn't be Sucker Punch, which is really ideal for me. Okay, that's really good. Okay. I'm able to go for a Pollen Puff and a Torkoal and heal back HP. I'm going to go for the Heat Wave. If you have Spore, Sucker Punch, Crunch, and Bullet Seed. Oh my goodness. I want to match just like Protect or Close Combat more likely. Let's see if this is going to be the case. Come on, get the Heat Wave out, Torkoal. Just hits the... We just have to hit the Bonnet. We don't have to hit the Scream Tail, just hit the Bonnet. Although hitting the Scream Tail is really nice. Of course. Of course. Let's see. I still really like Sylveon in the end game position. Hyper Voice is going to threaten a lot. It being Hal was like one of my concerns on the Scream Tail. So yeah, Bonnet's going to switch out actually, which I am very appreciative of. What's coming in though? Scizor is not a Pokemon that wants to come in on the Heat Wave. I'll tell you that much. We are able to get a Heat Wave off and pick up the knockout into that Scizor. I guess they were like afraid of me going for the Sucker Punch or me playing defensive, but that ends up working out really well for me. I definitely live as Psychic Fangs, I think, from the Screen Tail, but with that Pollen Puff, I absolutely now will guarantee live that. Are they reversing Trick Room? No, they're Drain Punching. Okay. Does absolutely like very minimal damage to my Torkoal, and yeah, this Scream Tail not really doing too much right now. Last turn of Trick Room is coming up. We should probably be seeing their last Pokemon. It's going to be the Iron Hands. Okay, makes a lot of sense here. Is it? We already know that the sun is up, so they are able to get that booster energy. Let's see. I like the idea of just going back into Stantler. The problem is I did take the sleep turn with the Sylveon, so that's not super pleasant. I could just go for a Strength Sap immediately or an Intimidate. I think either one will probably work here. I am worried about them being able to get like... I think I should probably just go for a Terrify Eruption and do as much damage as possible with Scream Tail. I probably should Earth Power that slot too. I don't know if they have Fake Out. That's my only question. Because they could Fake Out the Torkoal. I think it's probably better just for me to click regular Eruption then. Okay, it's probably better for me to click regular Eruption and Pollen Puff actually, or Hyper Voice. Do we get in? I think we do. Okay, cool. Okay, no protects all around the board. I'm able to get an Eruption off. Yeah, I don't KO the Scream Tail, but I'm able to do a lot of damage with the Hyper Voice double up. So yeah, as you can see, amazing damage. That might be Booster Energy Hands. That Hyper Voice did a lot. They go for Close Combat, not Drain Punch. Okay, and that doesn't even knock out the Torkoal, but Torkoal is going down in a future turn. The problem is, do I have a way to outspeed and Revenge KO? Because they get their Bonnet back in, and yeah, this is not super pleasant right now. Bonnet gonna come in. All right. Unfortunately, I don't have a defensive Terra that helps me. That actually, maybe not going for the Terrifier, but the thing is, if they had Fake Out and they went for Fake Out on the Torkoal, I was so worried about like how the hands was doing the following turns. Sylveon is still really good in the end game. I might need to go in it. I think I have to go Sylveon now because it's Close Combat, just going to do so much. And I'm going to Heat Wave. Or should I Protect? I guess I could Protect. Wait, this is... Yeah, Trick Room expired. Sun is almost out. I think I have to take damage on the Sylveon, unfortunately. And figure out some way to maneuver. I think I'm going to go into Stantler. Yeah, I'm going to go into Stantler and maybe try to get Reflect up. They might... I feel like you would probably try to take the KO onto Torkoal, but you could Spore this slot as well, which is what I'm concerned about. If they Spore the Torkoal slot, really good play on their part because they want to, like, keep me to have a useless spot on the field so that they can get momentum with their two attackers. Get the Intimidate off. Nice. Crunch going to come out. Beautiful. Okay. And Close Combat into the Sylveon. All right. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, so we have an Intimidate off. We can get a Reflect up now, which is pretty solid. Sun fades. Photosynthesis is gone for now. Wait, they get it from... Wait. Oh, wait, why am I... Quark Drive is selected terrain. For some reason, I thought it was Sun. Did they actually get Booster Energy? Then that might have been the reason. I'm just going to Hyper Voice, and I'm going to go for a Reflect. Terra Poison might be worth it here. Yeah, because the Arboliva doesn't change anything. So I think it is Terra Poison time and get the Reflect up. To make sure that Sylveon has some turns to buy. And my main goal is to try and get maybe like the Iron Hand to sleep so I can go for the Hypnosis and then bring in my Arboliva and then click Hyper Voice and secure the game. The thing is, it's going to take a few turns for Sylveon to go down after I get the Reflect up, which I do want to build up towards. So let's get this Reflect up now. Unfortunately, we could be going to sleep with the Spore, but that's all right. Sylveon going to take a turn. Let's see if they're going to target the Sylveon aggressively or not. They're going to go for the Bullet Seed. They do target down the Sylveon. Okay, nice. With that Reflect up. Take it pretty well with that Intimidate too. I don't know if Wild Charge will KO the Sylveon. If it does, that's completely... Oh, well, with the critical hit, yeah, it will. They did get 5 hits too with the loaded dice, which is 50% chance. And let's see with the Wild Charge. No, they close combat actually to Stantler. Okay, that's really good for me actually. Okay. So I think I'm going to go for Hypnosis in the Brute Bonnet. Yeah, I'm going to go for the Hyper Voice in the Brute Bonnet and go for that hit. Yeah, I'm going to go for the Hypnosis because it can buy me turns for the Sylveon potentially. And let's see. Sylveon wakes up, wins me the game. If not, going to come down to some things. But looks like Sylveon going to clutch it up here. Get that Hyper Voice off. We'll be able to knock out both Pokemon. And ooh, okay. Was just worried about the hands right there. I thought I saw hands get the boost, so it might have been booster energy, and I thought that was just the sun for some reason, but that was just a mistake on my part. But overall, it was really nice. Was able to basically get like that Reflect on the Stantler was pretty helpful. Although the Pollen Puff, I think, on the Arboliva, just allowing my Torkoal to survive a little bit longer to actually dish out the damage, was really solid overall. So that was super helpful. Hands could have been scary as the last mom, but thankfully didn't take too many turns of sleep. And I don't think it would have been too bad. I do think I just had to land one Hypnosis overall. Or maybe I could have just... Actually, there was also a chance that maybe I could have got Trick Room up with my Stantler and go for the Hyper Voice in the end game. So there is definitely that possibility as well. So I think my opponent had to get pretty lucky with sleep turns too. I think if I get one Trick Room up, they lose the game to a spread move. All right, we have Xianpao, Mousehold, Jumpluff, Iron Valiant, Golden Goat, Dragonite. This is definitely more of a unique team right here. Let's see, how do we want to prepare? We have quite a few things. I do like getting the Trick Room up with Stantler. Stantler does do really well here, but the Mousehold with Population Bomb with Xianpao, that actually could be like a pretty scary factor. We do have Intimidate though, which is still really solid here, and definitely I do want to bring. I gotta watch out for the Golden Go. Golden Go's a little bit scary for this team. I don't exactly have the best answers to it. I would love to bring the Sylveon because they do have 3 Fairy Weeks, but I don't think it's the right call for the most part. My Garganacl can definitely put in some work right here against my opponent's team. I think I definitely want to lead Stantler, that's for sure. Stantler Torkoal might be the actual lead here just because they don't exactly have the best ways to immediately threaten. Which, not exactly too sure. I do like the Intimidate plus the Eruption. I do give Jumpluff the Sun. I don't really have a way to deny Sleep Powder though. So I think I will still go for it anyway. And then in the back, I think I like Garganacl. This Garganacl offensively can do a lot of work. And then Arboliva. The reason I like Arboliva is because we do have a way to hit Terra Water on the Golden Go. And we have Giga Drain as well. And Earth Power. So I do like that coverage overall against my opponent. But I don't know. We'll see. This team is definitely going to be pretty tricky to handle. They got quite a few solid options, even though like the Mons look a little bit out there, but they do work against me pretty well. We're going to see the Golden Go Dragonite combination, which let's see if it's Inner Focus or if it's going to be a multi-skill variant. We are going to get the Intimidate off with the Stantler, get the Intimidate off in the Golden Go. It is the Inner Focus Dragonite. Okay, so that's pretty scary. But I don't really have much of a choice. I do think going for the Trick Room is my best play here. Just getting that Trick Room up as quick as possible. And then in here, I should probably fire off... I don't know if I want to fire off a Heat Wave or do I want to Protect. The Protect can be pretty scripted. They also most likely just want to target down the Stantler, realistically, and deny the Trick Room, I think, if they want to. So I'm going to go for a Heat Wave here. I'm going to treat Golden Go. This is probably the Xianpao. or Jumpluff, which I'm surprised to see Jumpluff coming in. That's not taking a Heat Wave. I thought it was Shampoo, but that makes sense to avoid the Earthquake coming out. Let's see if this is going to KO the Torkoal. Probably not. Yeah, without Shampoo, even with Shampoo, probably was not picking up a knockout. I do get a Heat Wave off, which is pretty huge. That's the Focus Sash on the Jumpluff and not the Shampoo that was potentially, but that does make some sense here. I am able to get the Trick Room set up with the Stantler, which is pretty good here. Now I think my best play is just to go for a Reflect here, because I do have the option to go for that Reflect. And do I want to protect or do I want to just attack? I kind of just want to attack because I don't need Torkoal to win this game. So I think I'm just going to go for a Heat Wave. This could be a Shampoo and Extreme Speed play. I don't think this is Choice Band Dragonite. Maybe it is, but I don't think so. I think it's okay because, again, if Torkoal goes down, I get the free switch. I do get the Heat Wave off, a good amount of damage to the Dragonites, chip away at the Jumpluff for the knockout, so that's really strong here. I am going to be able to get that Reflect up with the Stantler, and I think Torkoal's still going down. However, a really solid position, I think, for our Arboliva right now, as Earthquake is going to come out once again, but really just not doing any damage to my Stantler, which is fantastic. Now, I did lose my best answer to deal with their Golden Go. However, I do have the Arboliva here, which is still pretty strong. Oh, right. I don't have Giga Drain on this set. But if they do Terra, it's not that bad if it's like Terra Water. Now, the question is, do I want to go Garganical or do I want to go out into Arboliva? I think I'm going to go into Arboliva here and just go for like as strong damage as possible. Because if they go Golden Go, they probably have to retreat. But Shampoo is going to come in. Okay. Huh. I wonder if Terra Normal Arboliva is the play here, because I really like the idea of going for that Helping Hand with Arboliva and maybe a Hyper Voice or a Pollen Puff. I do like. The thing is, if it's Terra Ghost Shampoo, they could go for it. I could go for the Pollen Puff because I would do a good amount of damage as well. But I do really like the idea of going for the Terra Normal Hyper Voice, and I'm going to try it. We already see the Dragonite Retreat, which is going to be Golden Go. I guess the question is, does Stantler go, does Shampoo go for Protect or does it attack here? If it goes for Protect, I guess I can try to Hypnosis it the following turn. And we know that it's not Focus Sash Shampoo because we already saw that the Focus Sash was on the Jumpluff prior. So I don't think this is a bad option yet. This could get really spooky real fast depending on the Shampoo. Does it survive this Helping Hand Hyper Voice, and did it go for Protect? So we get the Helping Hand off, which is the fastest priority out here, and we are going to see they did Protect. Okay, so unfortunate for me, but not realistically too bad. I did go for the Hyper Voice. It is going to fail. Maybe I should focus my efforts on the Golden Go, and I don't think I mind going for the actually, yeah, the efforts in the Golden Go isn't too bad. I do have Hypnosis that I could go for, but I do have Reflect on the Arboliva, so I should be able to live any combination. I'm going to go for the Helping Hand Earth Power. You know what? Into the Golden Go. I bet they're not like super scared of the Arboliva right now, and I do need a damage into Golden Go, because if I can get that damage to Golden Go, would be really, really nice. We might see a Terra Ghost too as well from the Shampoo, and that's exactly what happens, which is really ideal here. Okay. Or Terra Dark, actually, not Terra Ghost. Okay. Sucker Punch is not KOing some. This Terra Dark is actually very surprising, but works out for me pretty well. Gonna go for the Helping Hand with my Stantler. We have that Reflect up. Earth Power is gonna come out. We're gonna see Sucker Punch. Okay, with that Reflect up, we are gonna be able to tank this extremely well. Yep, we took that extremely well. We're able to get the Grassy Terrain Life Orb Shampoo, so that's gonna hurt quite a bit later on. The Earth Power is gonna KO the Golden Go, which is perfect. Okay, that's a really good knockout. And now, I mean, Extreme Speed is going to be pretty concerning with the Sucker Punch, but I'm pretty sure I'll live because I do have the Citrus Berry, and we're always guaranteed to get another Citrus Berry as well with Harvest if we get a bit too low from the attacks right here. So let's go for a Helping Hand here with the Arboliva, and let's go for Hyper Voice, and we might just be able to win the game. I could Strength Sap too. Strength Sap isn't a bad play, but I think Organical could just win at this point, because I think the Dragonite is Choice Band. It has to lock itself into a move. If it doesn't lock itself in Extreme Speed, I don't think they have any chance of being the Arboliva unless they get a critical hit with Xianpao. So let's find out if that's going to be the case. They do go for the Extreme Speed. It looks like they're locked in. It does do a ton of damage, but I am able to heal with the Citrus Berry. And with the Harvest on this Arboliva, we're actually going to be able to get another Citrus Berry at the end of the turn. But let's see if we live the Sucker Punch. That's going to be a good question. Sucker Punch. Ooh, okay. Looks like we're not able to get the KO and get another Citrus Berry. because it'd be at the end of the turn, but okay. Still think it's pretty acceptable. I probably should have went for the Hypnosis then with the Stantler. Sun fades, Trick Room is over, but Organico's looking really tough for them to break through right now, so especially behind that Reflect. They have to double up the Stantler to pick up the knockout of Stantler. The Dragonite's basically useless at this point because it's only can extreme speed a slot. I just gotta hit my moves, which is not super pleasant, but it is what it is. We're gonna go for a... I think Trick Room's always the play here, because if I Helping Hand, I don't know if the Sylveon rocks like Yoshi and Pal. I feel like after a Life Orb hit, maybe it does. So you know what? Let's go for a Helping Hand here, and let's go for a Rock Slide. Yeah. Let's just go for the damage. Let's see if this Hardstone Garganical can put in the work for this endgame. We will go for the Helping Hand. Let's see. You should be Choice Banded Dragonite with that extreme speed. It is. It doesn't do that much damage to Stantler, thankfully. With that Reflect, we are seeing Sacred Sword into Garganical, but we are going to be able to take that pretty well. Rock Slide. We missed one. Oh, that's actually the worst. Oh. Is there a way to win this? There's no way to win this, is there? Okay. I could there's nothing. If I Trick Roomed, I guess maybe I should have Trick Roomed in that case because of the miss. But I was gonna have to hit one eventually, and the other one was not KOing, and I was worried about how much Sucker Punch does, because I was really worried if Sucker Punch actually KO'd my Garganical afterward. So yeah, I think like I just had to, like, if I missed a Dragonite, it's not that big of a deal. Hitting a She Impact was way more important, unfortunately. And yeah, I did not have the most accurate rock move. So yeah, this is, unless they throw here and don't Sacred Sword to Garganical, but they're gonna Sacred Sword to Garganical. That's unfortunate. A little bit unlucky there, but I guess I could have just pinned that Golden Goat earlier because the Dragonite switch was pretty obvious, and then the Protect from Xianpao. I wasn't sure if Xianpao was attacking, but maybe I should have taken the KO on Golden Goat anyway because that was building up towards the Garganical, and I would have still had an extra turn of Trick Room to work with. So I think that was probably where I messed up, but man, not the way you want to go out with this team. I was hoping the Garganical would put in the work, KO that Xianpao. Unfortunately, did not. All right, let's go over to games. Game one, I was able to just get Trick Room up very safely while Sylveon did a massive amount, and then Torkoal next to Sylveon under Trick Room were a duel that my opponent could not handle. Game two, Choice Spec Sylveon was able to put in a lot of work in the early game, and Garganical was able to clutch out the late game. Game three, Psychic Fang Screen Tail was a little bit difficult, but the Pollen Puff Arboliva was able to shine in this match, helping out the Torkoal. Endgame could have been a bit scary, but Torkoal or Arboliva just needed one hit in Trick Room to seal the endgame. Game 4, this game did come down to Rock Slide miss, but I think the Dragonite switching out prior was very obvious into Golden Go, and I could have sniped it to put myself in a way better position with Helping Hand Earth Power. This team has a lot of surprises, and yeah, I mean, Garganical actually has really good attacking power if it hits moves, so it's actually like not bad offensively. It's just like Assault Cure and, you know, just the stall set is really solid overall, but very fun team. Pollen Puff Arboliva was actually really fun. If you do want to try it out, there is a rental code on your screen available. You can check out this details of the team and the creator down below the description, and of course subscribe to the channel for more VGC content as always.